On the panel, we have Saroj Panigrahi, COO, Games 24/7. In his 15 years of experience, 13 years have been spent on building, scaling, skill gaming in India. He has been part of a successful startup like Rummy Circle, My 11 Circle from inception. Shaji Prabhakaran, Secretary General, AIFF, Secretary General with All India Football Federation, spent more than 30 years in various capacities with domestic and international sports, from working in a national federation to an international governing body of football, FIFA. Next we have with us Abhijit Bhattacharya, founder Brahmaputra Volleyball League. In December 2020, Abhijit started Brahmaputra Volleyball League, a unique platform for promoting rural talent, wherein 144 matches were organized between 50 village teams from 16 districts. This league was entirely organized through community participation without any corporate sponsors. In the second edition of BVL, 2,200 children from 209 teams from 28 districts participated, making it one of the biggest ever grassroots sports initiative undertaken in India. Rishikesh Joshi, founder sportsforall, is also present with us, a tech-enabled multidisciplinary grassroots sports competition platform. The moderator is Shireen, who is a well-known presenter, journalist and media entrepreneur. She has launched several TV channels in India. I'll now request the panelists and the moderator to kindly take this brilliant session forward. Over to you, Shireen.
Am I audible? Yeah, okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to begin with Saroj. Saroj, for a company like yours, for a gaming company, is a lot of proliferation of leagues a very good sign?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I think currently, if you look around, there is more than 50 leagues in India, more than 100 leagues across the globe. And what it is enabling is the growth of the ecosystem, right? And when the ecosystem gets built, everybody in the ecosystem gets benefited from it, right? We can start with the player. The local talents are getting opportunity to participate on those leagues. They are getting better facilities, better coaching facilities, better nutrition, and they are now getting a chance to display their skill on a big stage. Similarly, the fans who are coming to the stadium are getting to see and witness basically good games. Because everything is now available on the mobile, a lot of people back home are looking those sports on their mobile phone. And when there is so much of interest in the sport, a sporting company like us also becomes a stakeholder, right? We at My 11 Circle run fantasy game. And if you have to do well in your fantasy game, then you have to know your players, their performance, how they are playing against particular opponent. So all this information is needed for players to participate well and do well in the game. So we also started investing on different games because there is so much of interest in the game, right? All the leagues are getting telecasted on media, and people are consuming those content, and using that content, they are playing on our side on the fantasy gaming actually. So we are one of the stakeholders in the whole thing, and because they started playing those games, their interest to know those players also increased, right? So in an overall set of things, the fans, the company, the organizer, everybody is getting benefited from all this league which is coming around in the last 10 years.
Shaji, let's have you give us an overview of how things have changed in the last decades, 2 decades that you have seen, and where are you seeing? So one of the things we want to talk about today, we've had a couple of great sessions on football, is that the football clubs have amazing fans on social media. They are rabid, they're almost as bad as the Lager Louts of England. But are we going to see football and maybe several other games come through on the school level as well?
Yes, happy to be here. Thank you. Lovely question. Very important one. Absolutely. We are, $3 trillion economy, and we will be, going towards 5 trillion, and then ultimately to 25 to 30 trillion. And this process, this is an ideal time for investing into sports. And the leagues, the competitions are the key drivers. And those who are, taking birth today are the luckiest, are getting to have the access to resources and the knowledge where, when we were born, we were not. We were like struggling for everything. We were dreaming, but, and football definitely have, taken a leap. But, football is one sport which is very competitive. 211 members competing to be, in that top spot. And India, for good number of decades, haven't done anything to strengthen its roots. So therefore, the foundation is very weak. We are still, like the globally people talk about, this many people, this many billions, the economy is growing, but then, why we are not able to produce that one talent, like maybe, super stars like Tendulkar, to begin with Kapil Dev, Tendulkar, Dhoni, Virat. Yeah. Now cricket is looking for who after Virat. So we have stars in football, no doubt, but they haven't taken that mega star status. And we as Indian, we love, those mega stars and idolize like anything. And that's how, our kids, they follow mega stars globally, of Messi's, Ronaldo's and all.
But you now have a lot of Indian football stars as well.
No,
We
yeah,
are quite a following.
I'm coming to that, yeah. And definitely, see, that's what I said. We have stars. Sunil Chetri is top among that. And what he does every day is a great example what every kid should do. And if Sunil had that kind of resources, Sunil had that kind of environment when he was 4, 5, 7, 10, then he could have played, we could have seen him playing in Liverpool or Arsenal or Manchester or Real Madrid. Yeah, that I'm telling, he could, because he has got so many things which superstars have got. Yeah, but then those years when 13, 14, 15, he didn't get what the best of the counterparts got. So therefore, coming back to your question, definitely, we will have more competitions, more leagues, and that is where, we need to move. And that's where the investment need to happen. And that can only happen where we have a collaborative approach. Because it cannot happen that, okay, one corporate will come and invest and, will change. No. We need to work together. Now what is happening is, we are working a lot in isolation. Yeah? And we are not coming together. And that, if we come together, our resource pool will be much bigger, and we can really do things which would avoid the resources going to the drain. Yeah, we must have built 100-story buildings in football many times, but we have not seen how it got demolished. Yeah, and sometimes we try to build the roof before we build the right pillars. Yeah, because it's not only the foundation, but the right pillars with the right strength. Yeah, and that is where we need to work, and that is where we need to focus, because our children who are dreaming to be Messi's and Sunil doesn't have that kind of opportunities. Yeah, And like the session which Gaurav had, like the major weakness is our kids, those who are 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, they don't have games. If the actors, if Shahrukh or Salman, if they didn't have the stage, they could not have reached to their superstardom, because they have moved, from they got the stage to perform, at the grassroots level, and that's how they dreamt to become, actors, superstars. And
Shaji, I'll
those
come
our
back.
kids also needs.
Yeah, I'll come back to your vision document,
Thank you.
because that's a very, very important part of a discussion on the forward way. But one of the things you mentioned 3-4 times is grassroots. And I'd like to bring in Abhijit here, who actually has a league on a game which is in popularity probably 5% or maybe even less in this country. Brahmaputra Volleyball League. Abhijit, a fabulous effort, and an effort without any corporate sponsors. Shaji mentioned the fact that the whole universe needs to work together. What made you do this, and what according to you is the future? Grassroots leagues, smaller leagues, clubs, or what?
Thank you. Like initially I had apprehension attending this session because it was about $1 million leagues and my league is at the bottom of the grassroots. We don't have $1 million, but we have $1 million stories definitely coming out from these villages. And it all started, after my retirement, I was with the kids and trying to help them out. But then again in 2019, all former players came together, former volleyball players of Assam came together, and they told that let us do something for the kids, those who really want to play. They want to play, but they don't have a ball. They don't have a coach. So that's how our journey began in 2019. So I told them, let's start very small. We cannot have bigger dreams. If we achieve the first dream, then we go ahead to the second dream. So our first dream was, let's collect 100 balls from our well-wishers, and we named the mission Assam Volleyball Mission 100. So that's how the name came in. Within a month, I asked all my friends and somebody donating 10 balls, 5 balls. Then we started distributing these balls. That's when we got to know that there are a lot of villages who wants to play, but they don't have the basic requirement. And imagine like 30, 40, 50 children playing volleyball, one ball. So they get to touch the ball only 5, 10 times a day. So that's how it started, but within a month we could collect 100 balls. Then we thought that let's expand our reach. How do we support 100 new centers? So that again, the COVID came. So post-COVID, what we did, we tried interacting with the children, but it was no use because everything was on lockdown mode. So I started connecting with the tea garden children who have never touched a volleyball in their life. They have never heard about volleyball. So I thought, how do I train them? So I saw my kids doing yoga classes online. So I thought that if they can do yoga, I can teach volleyball. So that's how the idea came up. And with closed ball, we started with these children. We started interacting with tea garden children who has never known volleyball. Within 2 weeks, they took out the skill. Then I thought that unless there is a competition among themselves, they will lose interest. So I organized online underhand competition between 3 tea gardens children. So that was the beginning. Then I bring all the 35 centers together. Then lockdown opened up. So what to do next? We don't have money, no funds, zero funds. That's how the idea came up कि यार एक गांव के लोग दूसरे गांव जाएगा. So I call up all on online mode. Ask them यार आप लोग ना, can you donate 1 kilo of rice, 1 kilo of potato and 1 kilo of mustard to help volleyball grow? So all they were very excited. How do we go ahead? बोले ठीक है, आपके गांव में अगर कोई टीम खेलने के लिए जाता है, उनको एक आप खाना खिला सकते हो? बोले क्यों नहीं? So that's how the idea came up. So in the first year, what we did, we made small groups, made sure that all these villages are within 100 kilometers. Matches were organized on weekend. Then made pools of 4 teams so that each village team get to see 3 new villages. So they will go to these villages and they will get exposure. And also they know how to organize matches. And when they see new villages, they get to see कि क्या हो रहा है उनके गांव में. So that's what it started with 50 teams, 33 boys team and 33 girls team. Then I realized that there were certain teams which were unable to cover the transportation cost. So 3 बार आना जाना उनके लिए costly पड़ रहा. Then the idea came up, if someone wants to adopt a team just by contributing 14,000 rupees. So all my friends came on board. They contributed 14,000 rupees. Aparna Papat came to know about this. Then Aparna told that I want to support. When Aparna came on board, I was surprised, like I was not calling her initially. Then when Aparna supported, I started telling everyone, that Aparna has adopted a team, Aparna has adopted, and that's how 50 teams got adopted within a month. And it was like 33 boys team, 17 girls team, we organized in district, then zonal, then Super League. Many new villages came to know about this. They started joining us. In the season 1, when we were in the midway, on a Sunday morning, I received a message in my WhatsApp group. Few of the kids in a tempo, wearing muffler and carrying their balls, going to play an away match. And that team was that Tea Garden team, Monumoy Tea Garden team.
Wow.
And that's when it struck me that we have to continue this league for next whatever possible way. And support came then. Now today we are in the season 4. There are 390 teams, 4,600 odd players are playing.
A round of applause here.
10,000 children are practicing every day in our ground. And there are a lot of challenges, but we are overcoming. Everywhere I go, there is a new story to narrate. But that's how. Now the girls into boys ratio in the season 1 was 2:1. Now in season 4, the ratio has almost closed down to 1:1. That's the beauty of it.
Wonderful.
And
Wonderful.
we hope that with support from everyone, now we are getting support. We have got a ball sponsor on board. They are giving us Vector Access, giving us ball. There is a Philips company who is giving us light. We are installing light because we were talking about how much we practice. If we don't develop the muscle memory, we don't get to touch the ball more. There are a lot of things happening. But this is how we are moving ahead.
Fabulous. Rishi, you are one person who has from the beginning talked about Grassroot. You have not moved from that vision. You just expanded and expanded on that vision. And as I understand, from the 4 cities to 10 cities, you are looking at 50 cities now for Grassroot League, multidiscipline. Can you tell us about it, please, and the platform?
Hello. Hello. Thank you firstly so much for having me here on such a wonderful panel, and the whole fact of calling it a sports literature festival was very attractive when I first saw your message here, because sports is about stories, and that's pretty much a dimension that is needed. Yes, school sport. I wouldn't categorize it as just grassroots sport, but school sports is something that we are very, very focused on, to be able to try and build one unifying school sporting platform across the nation. Is pretty much what we do as Sports for All, but I'll take 2 steps back. I worked in the IPL from 2008 to 2015, so from the inception years of the IPL, and then I also worked for a franchise, it was Mumbai Indians, and coincidentally, that same institution was building the ISL. So I was a part of the founding team of building the ISL league as well. And so my first 8-9 years in formally working in sport were in the IPL and then in the ISL. But I remember that, when I was a child, I was a national level swimmer, and I kept telling my parents that I want to do something in sports. And we had no background about sports as a family. I'm a Gujarati Brahmin, and had no background about sports the family had. But still, I pursued swimming, and I kept telling my dad I want to do something in sports. So he went around, made me meet a few people that he knew. One of them was Mr. Raj Singh Dungarpur, the then president of CCI, BCCI, and I remember telling him, as a 17-18-year-old, कि uncle, मुझे स्पोर्ट्स में कुछ करना है, एंड ही टोल्ड मी दैट स्पोर्ट्स में कुछ नहीं है, क्रिकेट में अगर कुछ करना चाहो तो कर लो, कुछ जॉब मिल जाएगी, नहीं तो स्पोर्ट्स में कुछ भी नहीं है. एंड आई थिंक दैट्स प्रीटी मच व्हाट स्टक विद मी until the age of 30, because then I worked for 10 years in leagues and cricket. I said that if I have to do something and not be a part of my family business, then cricket is the thing. But 10 years later is when I decided to move away from cricket or any of these $1 billion leagues, and went ahead to say that why can't we transform the state of school sport, because that's pretty much where any journey kind of begins. And
because sports stuck with me, I said that, it's sports, so it has to be multi-sport, and I won't look at 1 or 2 or 3 disciplines of sport. And that's pretty much how the journey started. And I think we started off with one city, which was Mumbai, which had no infrastructure at all, and none of the schools had any time to send any kids for sport. So I think I went from school to school. For the first 2 years, I must have visited close to 600 schools myself, and spoke to principals, parents, coaches, teachers.
What was the reaction in those years? Let's say conversions
I have
were...
messages, I have legal notices. I was called that, we are a scam. School sport aise koi nahi sakta. And then, some other school sports associations sent the schools a legal notice that were participating with me, saying that, you can't play anywhere else because you are how that is what I realized, that the opportunity that was being denied to the kids was by the stakeholders of sport themselves.
Why did you not get deterred? What was it that you saw as an opportunity for the league that made you persist?
See, there's another story there, because there's a school sports association called as MSSA, Mumbai School Sports Association, That's the association which actually owns the Agile Shield, Harris Shield, from where the Sachin Tendulkar, Vinod Kambli partnership that we all hear about. And since I was working at Mumbai Indians, they decided to sponsor MSSA to build the fan base of Mumbai Indians, right? So, and I said that, wow, this is something that really interests me, because I have also come through those systems, and I said I will lead that side of things for my franchise and work with MSSA very closely. And SFA was actually never born. This was a model that I said we'll remodel MSSA, because the School Sports Association did not even exist anywhere else in the country. And so I told them that, now that you are getting money, the company is paying you money for the next 5 years. And I'll tell you a very important incident out here, because when they first came to MI for money, they came for, X amount of money, and the bosses at RIL said that why X, take 10X, which is not something that you hear very often. And that's what, opened my eyes also, saying that, and MSSA was founded by Sir Dorabji Tata in 1930, so almost 100 odd years. And then I started working with that committee very closely, every day spent 5-6 hours in their small offices. And, I said that this is not, and I started getting very frustrated. I said that, they are all running their own homes. They are actually not running the association or the school children. And I said that आप नहीं करोगे ना तो कोई आके कर लेगा. क्योंकि आपके इतना अच्छा फैन बेस है, इतनी सारी स्कूल्स, इतने कोचेस सालों से कर रहे हैं, and they were like, कोई नहीं कर सकता. And that's something that I took back. And I said that, किसी की मोनोपोली नहीं हो सकती, किसी की जागीर भी नहीं हो सकती, और इसकी कारण, बच्चे दूसरी टूर्नामेंट्स ही नहीं खेल पा रहे, क्योंकि उनको डर लगता है कि ये मेरा कोच है, ये मेरा एसोसिएशन मुझे डिस्क्वालीफाई कर देगा.
Isn't this very, Shaji, isn't the points he's making, isn't this like a sense of deja vu for you of across, because you have, from a FIFA kind of body to the grassroots, you've had an experience of all. What Rishikesh is talking about, what Abhijit is talking about, does that give you a sense of, I've seen this is always happening and it's not going to change, or are you optimistic that there will be young dynamic people like Rishi and Abhijit who might just change things?
No, what Rishi is an inspiration, and that's what we need, because whatever the story he shared, nothing's, because I have experienced the association what he is talking, and majority of unfortunately that's the
That's the reality.
Reality, yeah. And people, normally they don't want to go and fight it out. Yeah. And they think, fighting means, you will be in problem, and sport will not change. And therefore, it is taking more time. And I'm sure the examples like Rishi and others, our youth should get inspired, and you have to be in the inside to change. And whatever we can say from out, nothing will happen. You can talk, you can speak, you can put all the social media, nothing going to change. Therefore, if you want to be change, you have to be in the system.
In the system.
In the system. And my experience is that, and it's not easy. It's absolutely not easy. It's a struggle. It's, you have to really prepare for the worst. Yeah. But, every day you have to only think about, the long-term impact, what you're going to achieve by being there. Yeah. And I think
And a passion for the sport, I suppose.
absolutely. See, the passion, definitely you need, but then you need to be strategic. You need to be like real, what you say, the resilience of,
Resoundingly resilient.
you will be hit by all corners, all sides, but you need to stay,
Right.
firm. And if you expect that, like others going to support you, others going to back you, absolutely not. Because like my experience says that 99 wants you to fail. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I go through every day. And that's the most unfortunate part. But like, I don't know why this mentality is, but then I think the generation which Rishi, everyone will be the kind of the change agents.
Change makers.
Change agents. And we need, and more women to come. Because the problem is the women's doesn't get entry, doesn't get encouraged. And that's where, the more problems are. Because the game is 50-50. Yeah. And our women are doing fantastically well. What the cricketers have done, going to England and, getting a record win, that demonstrates our women are there, in every sport, in everything. But then, we really need to open it. We need to welcome them. We need to really encourage them. We need to really support them and, empower them.
Sure.
Empower means everyone. It's not only women, from a 5-year-old to whoever. And that is what we need to do.
Sure.
And we should not be, get, say, demoralized by the failures, the setbacks. We need to keep fighting.
Saroj, one very interesting thing, everyone on the panel here has either played or is very passionate about it or has worked, including you. You mentioned about how, where the fantasy sports is concerned, engaging the fan becomes very important. We're talking here about leagues which are about talent development, which are perhaps even about giving a purpose to certain people, changing lives, etc. Where the fan engagement is concerned, they don't know these stories, right? They don't know the struggles, right? They just go for the passion of the game. Where there do you think organizations like yours, fantasy sports, where do they help the passionate sports fan?
That's a very good question. So, in my view, right, we are in a catch-22 kind of situation, right, for other sports apart from cricket. I think there is always talk about fans are not there, and that's why basically a lot of people are not taking those sports. And on the other side, the fans kind of say, there's no icons, there's no performance, so we are not the fans actually, right? So somebody has to start the cycle, right? And when somebody is starting that cycle, the fantasy company can play a huge role over there in terms of building that culture, right? A fantasy company, when kind of have fantasy on that sport, the fans are now not only looking at that sport, but also looking at the players of that sport and following them. for any sport to develop, you need icons. And the way icons get made, when people kind of search about them, they know about their performance, they know about the highs and lows and their skill set, right? And the fantasy company kind of provide that platform for users to search for their icon players and know about the icon player more. So it kind of bringing the consumer, the fans, very close to their favorite sporting persons. And that relationship building is what basically the fantasy company can do.
And also whether if he cannot be a Sachin, maybe through the sport he can at least emulate it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Abhijit,
Just to add
sure,
one
please.
thing, but I think Abhijit, when spoke about his journey, right, one of the things which we kind of overlook a lot of time, the world has changed, right? The technology is now far, far superior than what it was there basically before a few years, right? He started his journey by coaching on a phone, right? And that coaching got available to a lot of people who are in the village. We have 1 billion plus smartphone in India. The internet connection is everywhere. So we have to start using technology more and more. We have to bring AI into all of it, right? Why should a coach has to go and coach people? Why can't we build AI on top of basically the data which we have to find out how the coaching can be done without a person? So we have to bring more technology into all of the sport which we have.
Yeah,
so
I
that we
think
can take it to the
Rishi
national
can
level.
answer that question in one. You have a tech-based platform and you throw up a lot of analytics. Last week I was on a panel discussion with 3 or 4 companies which were all into sports technology. And one of the biggest points was sports mechanics, crick heroes. One of the biggest points is there's reams and reams of data being thrown up, but there isn't anyone to analyze it. There isn't anyone to do anything. Their company also throws up a lot of analytics for the young school student of 10 years old, right? Who knows that I did this, I'm good at this. How much was it actually used, Rishi?
I think in that same CII scorecard, 2 panels before that, I was I was asked the same question, and I said that technology needs to adjust to people, and people won't adjust to technology, and especially when it comes to kids, it's a very different ball game. So I think technology is a big enabler and an overdose of technology at a very early age. I personally am not a very big proponent of the overdose of technology, but the reason why we use technology is, obviously transparency is the single most important thing that technology brings at grassroots level. Second, the other thing that, because you won't believe, if you think that national federations are hard to deal with, try and deal with the district associations. It's unbelievable. So to be able to break, a certain pattern of kids getting lost and the right children not getting the right opportunity is pretty much where technology is what we kind of put in use. And to be able to connect, a young 10-year-old, 11-year-old, their parents don't know. See, they play well in a building, they play well in a club, they play well in their society, like their school, but that's about it. Imagine if a 10-year-old parent knew that, oh, my child is, amongst the top 100 in India. They will probably start taking their first steps and getting that first direction even more earlier in life. So that's pretty much where technology comes into use for us. But yes, it definitely, like today, this e-gaming or e-sports is, until 6 months ago, I wasn't very sure, what that will do. But when I actually tried playing a couple of these games, I realized that can make children learn the sport so much more earlier. Like I will already learn and go onto the field to my coach. Even before I have actually held the ball, I know how to hold the ball because I played that game. So yeah, I think it's more of a boon than a pain, is what I would kind of put it out there. And technology is important to create, a sustainable business today.
True.
So I think these 2 things. Fantasy sport, I'll tell one more story, but Harsh is a friend of mine since multiple years now. So when I started SFA, he had already begun Dream 11 and you know I told him that मेरे को एक दिन school sports के लिए fantasy game बनाना है तो तू please help करना मुझे बनाने को तो आज तक मैं वहाँ पहुँचा नहीं हूँ पर अभी आपको मैं बोल रहा हूँ school sports की fantasy game बनाएंगे.
Abhijit, according to you, because you've done everything on your own, the league, what you did in Assam also, do you think the way going forward, if we are going back to basics, if we go keeping simple things, we're not bringing in technology, we're not bringing in federations, do you think at the end of the day, it is going to be private initiative that will take things forward in terms of sport in this country?
What initiative?
Private initiative.
Definitely, it's so much of spread across, and one agency, one organization cannot reach out to everyone. It is the collective effort of the community, the people who are who have never got anything from sports. They are not paid for it. All my center in charge, we never pay them. But every evening for 2 hours they come to the ground and...
Why? According to you, why?
It is their passion, it is their love of the sports. And Indian sports or worldwide sports, if you see, it is only surviving because of those people at the bottom of the grassroots. Because they are the one who first bring out the children. घर से आजा, parents को जाके बोलेगा, don't know why. They just drive it. And then, when they reach a certain level, only then the federation, the association, all the corporates pick them up. But these people are nowhere to be seen.
Mm.
What we need to do now is, it's not like when you say qualified coach to train Messi, coach to train Virat Kohli, and qualified coach to train a grassroots children, there is a vast difference. For example, when you go to emergency ward, in a hospital emergency, you don't need a neurosurgeon or someone. There's a very quick fix things. These are the things this has to be done. So if we train these people to do the basic of volleyball, football, 1 week course, कुछ ज़्यादा नहीं चाहिए, थोड़ा सा में सीख जाते हो. And when they get trained and then train, then you will find refined products. And then finally you don't have to work much on those. But definitely we need collaborations, partnerships, help from everyone. It's a collective effort. Every player you come, someone big corporate is taking credit for his medal, but don't forget the one who has brought him up. So just to quote this, when I worked with a league, Prime Volleyball League, I was with the Mumbai Meteors before the Kolkata Thunderbolts. What we did was, every player come for the league, play 2 months, right? If they win, we get the credit. Abhijit is the mentor, he is the coach, but I am not the one who has produced them. So what I did, I asked every player, give me name of 5 people who has helped you to reach this stage. Every player gave their name, and I made a T-shirt in name of that coach, that cycle wala, milk wala, जो उनको लेके आया. And before the start, we reached the finals. We distributed this T-shirt कि आपका coach के लिए है, ये आपका मम्मा के लिए है, आपका भाई के लिए है. Let them give the credit to them. That's how the collective efforts come out.
I'm going to open this to the public for some questions, please, because I think there are certain questions that need to come from the audience. You need the mic. While we are waiting for them, Shaji, the vision document that you had created, even when you're creating the vision document, and I'm asking you this, you can answer it or not answer it, we all know that implementation normally is 10, not 20%, right? These vision documents, how much do they help? One, has that implementation, is it like, सरकार का implementation के 5% हो जाएगा, or has that for federations and leagues improved because there is a certain set of professional level of people who've come in?
No, again, wonderful question and very pertinent one. For me personally, see, because the new team when came in, this was very purpose-oriented, because that's why I was part of the team, because not for position, but to really make change and transform. Because without the right strategy, right direction, right roadmap, we can't really go and reach somewhere. Yeah? And because my own experiences working in more than 30 countries, going for 10 days, analyzing what they are good at, what they are weak at, and how they can grow. I am going and suggesting, doing complete audit of the things, and those experiences really, I have seen, they moving forward, yeah, and not all of them. Like, say, out of maybe 10% really moved forward, and I wanted to bring that part to India, and it was for the first time in 2015. The Federation announced its first strategic plan, and then I was part of it as the external part, as part of FIFA, and I've seen what was achieved, what was not achieved, and then 2019 they came up with the second plan, and then 2022 when we are working on it, we had 100 days. We said, okay, within 100 days we will announce the roadmap, and it was a tough one because like whether you do it for 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, then it was very deliberate that we came up with Vision 2047, because you can't change anything where tangibly it can be seen that, okay, there's a huge change in 4 years. And you very well know that nobody will be there in that seat or in that position when India is going to achieve bigger success on the pitch. So therefore, analyzing every part of it, there are 11 elements to it, from grassroots to the national team to the digital transformation. Every aspect was covered, and we had a short-term target 2026 and 2047. And then every quarterly we were evaluating where we are. But I can tell you the capacity, see, we are known in the world as the best human capital. Our human resources are huge in demand.
But you're the one who also said that we still haven't been able to produce.
I'm coming to that. Yeah. So in football, I have analyzed the capacity, we were very low in capacity, because we can't see, it's not about one man or two man. You need a team. If Messi alone cannot, will be conceding one goal in a 30 second, and you cannot. So you need big number of people who really have the same thought process, same vision, same energy, same competencies. And football is not able to attract the best of competencies, because first the culture, yeah. The second, you really need to take care of them, because they are aspirational.
Is there money in football in India or not?
No, economic wise, we are very big. It doesn't justify our economic situation of the country. We are very backward. See, like to get sponsors, it's a struggle. Yeah. Unless you know the MD or the chairman personally, you can't really crack. Because when I was the president of Football Delhi, like we had a zero money, yeah, and I was thinking, how I will do it, And when I left 4.5 years back, I left 1 crore in the bank, yeah. And I tell you, it is like, it was like my personal mission. If they were not giving me the money for the sport, because of my credibility, my background, and they'd see, okay, something is happening. So that's how they used to. So that was a struggle, because then the moment, you are not there, it's gone, it's going, So therefore, the problem is the whole sports economy in the country is very skewed towards something, relationship oriented, star oriented, not on creating value.
Very well said. Very valuable point. Very valuable point.
And that's why the grassroots is the casualty. Because you need to invest, like what Abhijit is doing, what Rishi is doing, the money need to go at the bottom, But what we are putting is money only to the fruits, yeah, to those apples, those oranges, those who are in best of conditions. But we are not trying to cultivate, irrigate, nurture those really need. And that's why no money coming, because no corporate, no brands, no authority see that, that, हमें तो कल चाहिए result, it is not a lab where, you have a vaccine made and you will replicate, million times the same thing will come out. Here, you are investing into something which you don't know whether they will be the star power. But what it can happen is it will create, a society which is going to be productive, which is going to be, value for the country. So we need to really change the narrative
And the thinking around
we
it.
are only talking about medals.
Right. Rishi, I want to bring in a little bit about your experience with the Mumbai Indians. Very valuable point that you made about the economy. I want to ask you, forget the fact that it was cricket, but from an administrative point of view, from a running point of view, according to you, what made Mumbai Indians so successful as a league?
As a franchise, you mean? In fact, this is the first ever time after me moving on from Mumbai Indians, I'm even talking about Mumbai Indians. I've never, in the last 9 years, I don't think many people know that I was a part of Mumbai Indians for 9 years. See, what I realized was that, a lot of effort, initially first 1, 2, 3 years, everybody was figuring it out. Nobody knew, how to run a team, how to even build a team in an auction. If I remember 2008 auction, in 3 players only the money was over. And that's how and then there was another league, ICL, those players were then remaining. That's how, we had to get players from the ICL and all of that. So I think it went through multiple iterations. But what made that team was, I think, a huge amount of, and it only had legends, right? I mean, you named the cricket legend and he was a part of the team. And I think everybody just worked on one thing, which was culture. So I think the cultural orientation and the amount of effort that was put in building that cricket team culture, that family culture of a sports team, really set the foundation for it, in the long run. And the amount of time, energy, effort that was put in towards building chemistry of players, towards bonding, towards making, a Sri Lankan, say for example, if you had a Malinga, you had to buy another Sri Lankan just so that he could have someone to talk to, right? All of these little things add up to, building a team which eventually builds, a brand. And I think that brand, a sporting brand, is largely the sporting culture. More than, it's a cultural thing. So that's really what made that team what it is today. And I think a lot of people are also building their own cultures, but at least there is a culture that is intrinsic, to the brand of play or to the style of play, which kind of makes things very different. And league cricket was never there. IPL was the first time where T20 and league cricket kind of came about. So while football, it was always about league football. So this kind of a lot was happened. A lot at the grassroots level also happened. I think today they run a very fine cricket league at the school level, which is called MI Junior. Coincidentally, we only run it for them. We only conceptualized it. But that's the amount of effort and energy that they kind of put all through the year to do it. Not that other teams don't do. I think a lot of IPL teams do now, because there's an economy that allows them to do it as well. But coming to this point, of saying that nurturing, I struggle to get sponsors, right? I mean, I actually moved on from, to build this because someone like RIL only had said, I'll give you 10x to MSSA. So I'm like, okay, there is money also available, but till now I don't have a titled sponsor. But what I'm trying to say is that till you don't build a bridge, how do you take toll, right? I mean, till you don't build the road, till the road is not complete, you can't tell everyone, chalo आधा टन लेके आओ, मुझे 50 रुपया दो. So you have to invest capital to build that bridge. Once that bridge is built, then for a lifetime, you're not going to earn money out of it. But the thing with sport, exactly, right, top, so everyone wants to have that ready-to-eat fruit. So, till you don't grow the tree, you will have fruit for a lifetime. So I think that is a cultural thing again, and it will come about at some stage.
While I agree with both the panelists, I think I'm also hopeful because apart from cricket, the only other sport which I see it turn around in the last 10 years is kabaddi. Right? It happened 2 weeks. I think if we look at kabaddi before 10 years to kabaddi which is getting played today and the popularity which it has gone to today, it's gone through the roof. Right? For the first time, we kind of signed Indian Kabaddi captain Pawan Sehrawat as our basically brand ambassador. So we are building icons from a game which was not there as the favorite game or that popular game in India for 10 years. Right? So I think leagues are kind of now going beyond cricket. And because it's going beyond cricket, the icons are getting made, people are following it, money also which is coming in, which is going to the grassroots, right? So it's going to take time, but I'm very hopeful that now it has happened in kabaddi, there is badminton league, there is hockey league, there is football league. Surely but surely things will change. So I'm very hopeful that things will change in India.
All right, we stay with your hope, and we will stay with, I think we are out of time now, so thank you very much. I'd really like to thank all the panelists for being here today, and hopefully when we meet next time, there'll be at least 40 more leagues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Check. I'd like to thank Shireen for wonderfully moderating the session, and I'd like to thank our panelists for such a riveting and brilliant session. And I'd also like to thank our audience for their participative interest. And this is when we'd like to appreciate our panelists by extending a token. I'll request our audience to kindly be generous with the applause. We genuinely thank each one of our panelists for their valued time they have spent with us and shared their experiences. Thank you. A small token of appreciation, but trust me when I say our hearts are full of gratitude as we extend this small token of love to our fantastic moderator of quite a few sessions by now, Shireen. Thank you so much.